Hey, I want to show something I saw last night while I was listening to a sermon at our church last night, and I thought it was interesting. We're in Galatians chapter 5, starting in verse 15. Actually, we'll start in verse 14. For all the law is fulfilled in one word, even in this, that thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. So basically, if you look at the law, there's all these statutes that are in the law that basically are teaching us how to have relationship with our fellow man, whether it be our like a stranger, or whether it be an actual neighbor, or whether it be a family member, or even for the purview of this channel, for our spouse. But if ye bite and devour one another, take heed that ye be not consumed one of another. This I say then, walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary one to another, so that ye cannot do things that ye would. Do the things that you would. So, if you're walking in the Spirit, you cannot. You are incapable. We have these things down here that are where it says, "Be led of the Spirit," and but if you're led of the Spirit, then you're not of the law. And then it gives you the works of the flesh that are manifest. It says here, adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like. And these are all things that have a consequence of you shall not inherit the kingdom of heaven if you die having doing one, practicing these things, any of these things, with an unrepentant soul. If you haven't repented, you haven't given your life over to Jesus Christ, and this is the type of things you're practicing, which most likely, if you're not a Christian, you're going to be practicing at least one of these things, if not multiple. You're going to go to hell. That's just the bottom line. It's telling you that you're lost if you're unrepentant of all those of any of those things. But the point here that I wanted to make, that I noticed last night, and he kind of pointed it out, is that it says that ye shall not. Now the word "shall" is an emphatic. That means it's an absolutely going to happen. So if you're walking in the Spirit, then you are incapable of committing adultery, of committing fornication, of committing uncleanness, lasciviousness. You're incapable of committing idolatry or witchcraft. You're incapable of hating your spouse. You're incapable of variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies. These are all things that are of the flesh. So if you're fully walking in the Spirit at that time, this is not going to be a permanent thing for anybody. I mean, obviously, all of us are going to have slip-ups in things. But if you're walking in the Spirit and you're not being carnal, then you can't do these things, because the Spirit doesn't. These are works of the flesh. These are not works of the Spirit. If you're walking in the Spirit, you're going to have these fruit. Things like love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. And for the purview of this channel, that's how your relationship's going to look. That's how your marriage is going to look. You're going to have things like peace. You're going to have long-suffering, meaning you're not going to give up. At least not very easily. You're going to have to, it's going to take a lot. Basically, God says never give up. I mean, God himself, he gives up on us. Eventually, he'll turn us over. But the goodness of God is still there. Even when you're turned over, as long as you're alive. And then, of course, when he takes us home, when he takes us out of this world, he takes us out. And then any long suffering at that point is done. But you make a vow that says till death do us part, then long suffering needs to be till death. Gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. These are things that are absolute game changers for marriage. I believe that. I'm not the best person to talk about this from a personal experience, because my marriage has been, for the most part, has not been these things. There's been, there has been a lot of this in parts of my marriage, but I don't know that this was spirit. One of the points he made last night was that, non-saved people can love, can have goodness, and can, have peace, and have meekness, and have temperance, and have long suffering. That there's people that could be unsaved and have those things. But we can talk about peace specifically. There is a different kind of peace. The peace that this is talking about is the peace that the Lord gives you. The peace that no matter what happens, you're able to have peace knowing that you're one of His. That no matter what happens, even if you die, the worst thing that happens is you die and you end up going to heaven and spend eternity with Jesus Christ. There's a peace about that. The world's peace is a temporary peace. It's a quiet. It's nothing is bothering you right now. But that never lasts. It's a temporary peace. And it's the same thing with long suffering. The world will long suffer with you until you get to its last nerve, and then it turns on you. Same thing with meekness, same thing with temperance. These are things that the world can do. A worldly person that is not part of the Spirit, they can do these things. But if you have the Spirit, if you're walking in the Spirit of God, and these are the fruit of the Spirit, then you're not doing these things. You are these things. The closer you get to the Holy Spirit, the closer knit you get with that Holy Spirit, and the more you're willing to give up yourself and let Him control, the more you're going to automatically be love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. You're going to automatically have those things, not because you have to do them, not because you have to work at them, but because you are those things, because the Holy Spirit makes you those things, because you're bearing those fruit. It kind of blew my mind. I'd never thought of it that way. Because you always think of, well, I need to be more loving, I need to be more peaceful, I need to be more long-suffering. And it's like, but that means you have to work at it. And if it's a work, then it's not a fruit. If you're bearing the fruit, then that means it's something that's automatic, and you just are that. You're just bearing it. That's just part of who you are now. So that blew my mind a little bit last night. I wanted to share that. And it's really the same way with the flesh. If you're in the flesh, And this is all of us. If we're not, if we live in our flesh, if we're carnal, we are a lot of these things. We are all the things that fight against the fruit of the Spirit. That's just who we are. We're selfish. We're haters. There's variance in us. There's no forgiveness in us. There's very little suffering with us. There's no peace. That's just not who we are. These things down here, that's just not who we are. We have to do those things. They're not part of us. These things are part of us just naturally. So, I don't know. I thought it was interesting. I hope this helps somebody. I love you.